Right. Okay, so this is much better.
Okay, I'm going to try to stay behind that one tree.
Okay. All right. Much better. So, now I know you talked why air quality is important to the Smokies, but obviously just more in depth of sort of how air quality impacts wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just, there's the views, but there's
Yep, the
a
people,
lot
but
of other things.
right,
People, the animals,
sure.
especially
I can talk about
wildfires.
yep, acid and ozone hurting
That'd
wildlife
be
and fish.
perfect.
Yeah. So not only does air quality affect human health, and that's really the primary reason we have a Clean Air Act is to protect public health, but it's also to protect public health and welfare. All those other things that air quality is important to. So acid rain, acid deposition is one of our concerns. We're getting too much nitrogen and sulfur from the atmosphere depositing on the soils that gets into the streams, and it can harm the things living in the streams, trees growing out of the soil. So what acid rain does, it changes the chemistry of the soil. It changes the fertility, how much nutrition, and it acidifies, it makes it more acid. The pH goes down due to too much nitrogen and sulfur. And certain things like brook trout, our native brook trout, are pretty tough, pretty acid tolerant. They like the higher elevations where the acidity is actually a little lower than lower elevations, but everything has a limit. And the acid deposition has changed that water chemistry, the water pH, lower, more acidic than it should be, and it can harm fish during chronic, basic flowing of the stream. And then when it rains a lot, like it had recently, the water levels come up, you get this pulse, you get a lot more nitrogen coming into the soil, rinsing off, and pH will drop sometimes a whole unit or two. It can become 100 times more acidic in just a few hours, and it can actually kill fish and aquatic organisms that we're trying to protect. And so that's a concern. Ozone pollution, we mentioned earlier that it's a concern for public health. It's one of those pollutants that EPA has a standard to protect our health, but also protect our health and welfare, meaning uh, ozone can get inside leaves and damage native vegetation, plants that grow in the park. It can also, reduce crop yields that are outside of the park, but that's a concern that ozone pollution, an air pollutant, can cause economic impacts to the stuff that we like to eat. But in the forest, it can get inside the leaf, ozone, just like it gets inside our lungs, and it can disrupt photosynthesis, the ability for the plant to take that sunlight and convert that sunlight to carbon and energy for it to grow. If ozone is high, it gets inside the leaf and really injures the cells inside the leaf and cause it to say, whoa, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to stop doing that photosynthetic process because ozone's getting inside, and it can cause that leaf to shut down early that day. And that happens day after day over a growing season. It can cause visible damage to the leaf where the dead cells are visible. It can cause the leaf to fall off. Like, just the plant isn't growing as good. And not all plants are equally sensitive, just like people are. Some are more sensitive to get colds than others, but so some plants do better, some do worse, and so you get this composition. The makeup of the forest can change from some species sensitive and some aren't. So that's a concern. As air quality has improved, ozone levels have gone down, which has been healthier for us and healthier for the forest and the park. So that's great news. We're at a level about where we should be to protect against visible damage, growth effects, and species composition changes to the forest.
Good. Let me just
So
make
that's
sure
good.
we're still
Yeah.
going here. Okay, we're good. Fun now. Okay, so that's much better. Um, I guess. Well, could you talk a little bit about does bad air quality have any effect on, in terms of wildlife, like the black bears? Does that really affect them at all,
Not
or
really.
no
Yeah.
effect there?
So, I mean, there's a concern with air quality affecting natural resources. There's some things we just don't know. Could air quality have an effect on, say, black cherry we know black cherry is sensitive to ozone. Is it causing any impacts to the amount of fruit that comes out? We just don't know that, but it is a concern. So that if we can protect from the effect of ozone on visible damage and growth composition to the black cherry, then we know we're protecting that species that other species rely on. So there's a connection. We just don't know if there's any impact.
I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Okay, so can you just explain to me the methods you use in order to monitor air quality?
Yeah.
Now, just before I say this, I am going to piece what you say
Mhm.
with the shots that I use at Look
Some
Rock.
of Ethan and Look Rock stuff. Yeah.
Which he talked about a little bit, but I understand that like the equipment that's in Look Rock, I didn't show.
Yeah. But some of the
So,
outside inlets and things. Yeah.
if you even want to leave that out while you're talking about this, I understand.
That's
that
fine.
too.
I can talk about it. So we monitor, monitoring air quality is, I think, our most important job that we do here because it provides so much good information. How do we compare to other places that are measuring the same thing? If you do it long enough, what are the trends? Is it getting better or worse, staying the same? Do we meet standards? How effective have the measures been to prevent air quality from getting worse? And so monitoring really does add a lot. It's the foundation of, well, if we want to know something else, what does this pollutant have anything to do with something else? And we have that data that we can connect to the other resource. So we monitor air quality different ways. We have some instruments that are actually with pumps, and we can sample air through inlets. And we have detectors that measure continuously the quality of the air, whether it's a gaseous pollutant, whether it's a particle pollutant, or sometimes we measure, we collect filters where we're actually like a little vacuum pump sampling particles and just collect them on a filter. And we can weigh how much is there, and then chemically, what is that stuff that we can analyze and determine, oh yeah, it's this amount of this, and then we can actually have a better idea, well, where's it coming from? What kind of source is contributing to that chemical, and it helps guide us to better understand the sources of those pollutants.
What do you believe is in store for the future of the Smokies in terms of maintaining air
Yeah.
quality?
So I think in the near term, I think air quality is going to continue to get better. I think because of the measures in place, some of the things, regulations that are on the books and on the way that people have committed to doing, cleaner cars, cleaner fleets, cleaner electricity, that air quality should continue to get better over the next several years, maybe a decade or so. And that's good news as we continue to, we want to keep it where it's at and get better a little more. We're meeting public health standards. Acid deposition levels are probably not where they should be to restore some of these high elevation acidified streams and soils that will protect our resources. So, but I think we're getting reasonable progress, and I think the trajectory, the path that we're on for the future is a good one.
So, just the last question, and I know I asked you this before, just about Black Bear Solar Institute, which is still my project is over. That's the
Yeah.
EV charging
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the station. So, my question was, what did you think, or what do you think of introducing EV charging stations to the park in order to reduce emissions in the air?
Yeah, so the park is trying to do certain things to demonstrate technologies and highlight some of the cleaner fuels, cleaner energy, electricity, yes, from solar energy to electric vehicles. And people are, we sort of introduced hybrid vehicles, gas and electric, and now there's many car companies that make just electric only. And if you have one of those, you got to plug it in and charge it somewhere, and that can be inconvenient unless there's more and more places to do that. Park last year, about a year and a half ago, put charging stations at two of our main entrance points, the Sugar Lands Visitor Center and the Econolofty Visitor Center. And so we were there first day, people were using it, kicking it off, and it's good to see that use. People are using it, planning ahead, knowing that it's there on their way to the park or on their way as a stop at the park, on their way to Florida or Michigan. And so it is being used. I think it's a good thing.
We actually, for my documentary, I went with Bob Harris and we rerouted that first ever electric vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Trip it took.
Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned the 2 charging stations
Mhm.
because my documentary follows
Oh, neat.
from that point to the point in the North Carolina.
Oh yeah, so
border.
that could be a little snippet or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I love it.
thank you. That's really all I needed.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we're loud and clear still. The mic is still, yay.
It's good.
And we missed people enough to